WRC-TV! For the 3rd of February. Yesterday I said December. It's my brain. My brain is gay! For the 3rd of February, 2011. 2011. And show my little fun guy here. This is City Paper sports writer Dave McKenna. That's how he feels today. We'll get into that in just a second. I'd like to say hello. This is my cell phone, by the way. I really am on top of things. I got a 2005 singular cell phone, which is now, of course, AT&T bought them out or changed the name or whatever. And this is cool. This is state of the art. So you can have your iPad, and your iPod, and your Apple phone, and your whatever. I got this, and it works. It still works. 6 effing years old, and it works. In fact, my hotline to Julie Wright is this button right here. I press this button, and hello, Julie. I'm kidding. You think I'm kidding? Maybe I'm not. Big news again today. Yep, there it is. Dan Snyder made good on his threat and sued the Washington City paper for $2 million smackaroonies. He doesn't like, apparently, a bunch of articles that Dave McKenna has written about him in the paper. We told you yesterday in the Post, I'll give it to Paul Farley. He broke the story yesterday that Snyder was not happy with Dave McKenna's piece back in November on the cover of the City paper that, made a lot, brought up a lot of Snyder's business dealings and kind of ridiculed a lot of it. So Snyder's gone into New York court and he's suing the parent of the City paper, which is a giant hedge fund. This giant hedge fund, I don't know how you pronounce it, Italia, bought City paper a year ago, I guess, from Creative Loafing, a Chicago media company that was going bankrupt, and probably holding on to it for a while to build up its, get it back on its feet, and then sell off the paper again. And Snyder's apparently looking to stick a fork in any revenue that City Paper's making, and make it a difficult deal for them to resell the paper if ever. And maybe not, maybe won't even survive. Who knows? But anyhow, I wrote a really good little Dave's response today on the mailbag, so I'm going to read that because I phrased it really nice. Dan Snyder suing City Paper is going to be a PR disaster for the Redskins owner. The few sports journalists and columnists that don't already dislike him will now dislike him even more. As a team owner, he's a public figure. Okay, he's like a politician. And in America, public figures have a very high bar to prove defamation. Snyder's suit will almost certainly be dismissed, and but not before City Paper's owner, the big hedge fund, we all crying for them, has a bunch of legal fees, which I guess is Snyder's point. Almost everyone has forgotten McKenna's pieces about Snyder, including the one from last November by now. But now with the suit, they're all over the internet again. Everybody's linking to them. Everybody's reading them. Millions of people are now reading McKenna's piece from last November. And, Dan Snyder just took the pretty much forgotten about article that 99% of the people had forgotten about, and he brought it all back up again. So, lose, lose, lose. I can't see how Dan Snyder can win out of this. He doesn't need the money. And he's just going to ruin his own reputation. Agree or disagree with Dave McKenna's article. You may find Dave McKenna's article obnoxious and offensive. He still has the right to run it, to print it. And I don't think he did anything that violated any defamation laws at all. I mean, again, Dan Snyder is a public figure. He's a very high, well-known figure in terms of owning the Redskins, of owning a whole bunch of different companies, from Six Flags to ESPN 980 in Washington, and he has whole media outlets at his disposal to bounce back and fight back at anything that McKenna might have alleged about him in the article. So it's crazy. And apparently City Paper even gave Dan Snyder space in the paper to write his own response to it, which he didn't take him up on. So I think Dan Snyder's a big loser here, and it's a PR disaster for him. You know, it's just another dumb move. All righty, folkies. Last night on Turner Classic Movies, I was watching a really cool movie, 5 Easy Pieces. Jack Nicholson. You know, I'm a huge movie fan. I've got dozens and thousands of DVDs. I've never seen this movie before, and I watched the last half of it, and I just fell in love with it. What a brilliant movie from 1970, and guess what? I ran over to Barnes & Noble today, and it's on sale for 30% off, so I picked up a copy, so I'll get to see the beginning of it. So looking forward to that one. And another quick memory I'm going to bring up here. Weasel! Don't forget Weasel. He's got a new show on WTMD 89.7 up in Baltimore, Towson University's adult alternative station. It's on Saturday mornings, and I believe they're replaying it now on Fridays. So listen to Weasel. He's one of the greatest rock DJs ever. Many years at the old HFS, on 102.3 and 99.1. And then he's spent some time on the Globe, 94.7, which was a cool station that started in 2007 by CBS with a lot of alternative rock there, but they kind of let it go into the ditch, and then Fresh was born. But anyhow, check out Weasels' new show on 89.7 WTMD. If you can't get the signal, you can pick it up at WTMD.org. And I'm a big fan of his. And we're scanning the big, let's see, the big news. The big news on the website. Let's see here. Where did I find this? There we go. Okay. Bob McBride has passed away. If you don't remember Bob McBride, he was an anchor on...
To appear tomorrow playing the Pearl Jam song He Loves.
Excuse me. Sorry, please do not interrupt me, Miss Madison over there on First Wave. Gosh, she's rude. Anyhow, Bob McBride passed away. He was an anchor on Channel 4 in the 1980s with Jim Vance. And got some pictures of Bob. I believe, let's see here if I can get this thing lined up properly. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. That's Bob there, I believe, on the far left, and that's Jim Vance in the middle, and George Michael, and of course Bob Ryan. That's Channel 4's big top news team from the early 1980s. And of course we've got Jim there. Of course he doesn't have that, his hair is quite a bit grayer now, and I think he's got a little bit of a goatee going. And there's Bob there. A great anchor guy. Apparently he went off and worked in Cleveland and Detroit after leaving Channel 4. In fact, when he was in Cleveland, he worked with Doreen Gensler, who later came to Channel 4, and she's now they're probably the top anchor team on Washington News today. Jim Vance and Doreen Gensler there on Channel Quattro. Okay, there we go. What else? And of course, Dave McKenna.
Oh, you should try this chair out. Oh, its effect on your body is really shocking.
And I was impersonating Dan Snyder pulling the little lever there. Okie dokie. So we'll see how that plays out, and I will see you later. Let's see what, oh good, oh the Ramones. DC needs a radio station like First Wave. We need that broadcast on our radio airwaves here in Washington. I can just listen to that station all day long, and I love it. Come on, Kenny King. Give us the Ramones on 105.9. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to stay